Welcome in. This is practice number 8, a flowing mobility session with a focus on crawling. Take a few moments to settle in and go through some easy movements. We'll get started with the practice shortly. Today, we'll be exploring basic movement variations in the foot-hand crawl and inverted crawl positions. Later on in the course, we'll revisit these patterns and build on them. Now, crawling looks pretty easy, but I always say it's sneaky hard. It requires more strength and stability than you might think when you're starting out. That said, we'll take time in the beginning of our practice to prep our joints, and throughout the practice, you'll modify the movements and rest as needed. Take as much time as you need to check in with your body, but if everything is feeling good, let's get into it. We're beginning with wrist rocking. From hands and knees, spread your fingers and plant your palms to actively engage the ground. Keep your arms locked out, elbow pits rotated forward, and your shoulders depressed. Smoothly rock forwards, backwards, or in circles. Focus on mobilizing your wrists through this range of motion. You can also incorporate other wrist rocking variations like side to side and backhand stretches. Come back to center, and next we'll flow through some easy spinal articulation. Flex and extend your spine, exhaling as you round, inhaling as you arch. Feel into the movement, visualize your spine moving like a snake. Begin to expand on this movement by adding circles and drifting forwards and backwards, rolling like a wave. Don't be afraid to get a little weird with it. Next, we've got T-spine rotations. Place a hand gently behind your head. Rotate open, then close, tucking to the floor. As you open, inhale and feel the strength in your back opening the twist. You might even add a reach of your arm. And as you tuck, exhale and feel the stretch across your upper back. Good. Now switch sides and continue. Okay, pause for a moment. Sit back to a low kneel, then step forward to glide into a half kneeling stretch. Keep your chest open and torso tall. Shift forward and sink down into your front hip. Feel the long stretch through your back hip. Then shift back, step back to kneeling, and switch sides. As you continue alternating, explore positional changes and small variations to the movement. Those last few patterns to address wrists, spine, and hips are a really nice way to prep the body. Now we'll get into the actual crawling drills. Start on hands and knees, tuck your toes, and press in to lift your knees to hover off the floor. Keep your core and lats engaged, spine long with hips and head at about the same level. Begin smoothly shifting your body weight forwards and backwards. Then begin twisting, rotating your hips from side to side. Then softly tracing circles around your points of support. Then elevating your hips and straightening your legs. And lastly, try holding a single arm support. Continue exploring the foot hand crawl position for 15 more seconds. Okay, now flip over and we'll work on shifting in the inverted crawl position. Keep your arms locked out and actively pressing through the floor. Create length through the crown of your head. Begin shifting your hips forwards and back. Then try moving in circles. Try lifting your hips and lowering. And lastly, you might also try a single arm support with a reach across your body. Pause and return to your foot hand crawl. Next, we're working a contralateral balance. Pick up one hand, then pick up the opposite foot. Stay low and pressing into the floor with the support arm and leg to maintain stability. Hold the balance for a few moments, then touch down and switch sides. These static holds are probably more difficult than actually crawling. To scale back, simply lower down to your knee hand position. Keep going for 25 more seconds. Now let's try that contralateral balance from the inverted crawl position. Lift one foot, then lift the opposite hand. Softly alternate from side to side. With a slight rotation of the body, this becomes a tripod hold, a name that I'll admit doesn't make a ton of sense, but it just kind of stuck. Anyways, there are different variations and angles to explore here. The goal is simply being able to create stability on demand even when we're changing our base or points of support. Try this long variation, holding the balance but extending the arm and leg. To go one step further, try lifting and bringing your hand to touch your foot. Alright, we're moving on to foot hand crawling. Set up your left hand and foot closer together and right side a little bit further apart. Stay low and long. Shift and step forward with your opposite hand and foot, then the other side. Take a few steps forward, then reverse. Really stay focused on maintaining the integrity of the crawl position and the form of the movement. The key is that your hand and foot travel the same distance so your weight stays evenly distributed. Avoid elevating your hips or taking big lunge steps that keep more of the weight in your legs. Good work. Now pause and flip over. Next, we'll inverted crawl forwards and backwards. Again, we're taking contralateral steps, but don't overthink here. While you're moving, keep your hands close to your hips for support. Don't let your hips drift too far forward. Start with small steps, and as you feel more comfortable, begin to expand your stride length. Make your way back to center and find your contralateral balance. For our pass under transitions, you'll hold this balance and rotate towards your support arm to come to foot hand. Then opposite hand foot balance and rotate away from the support arm to return to inverted. The focus on this pattern is making sure that the leg always passes underneath the body rather than stepping across, which we'll work on next. Keep practicing these pass unders for 30 more seconds. Pass through and back, or link the pass unders together to flow continuously in one direction. Come back to foot hand crawl, and now we'll work our other main transition, the rollover. Pick up one foot and reach across your body. Rotate and extend from your hip to reach for the ground. Touch down and roll over to the inverted position. On the way back, lead the roll with a reach of your arm. Reach across, extending through the fingertips. Use the intention of the reach to drive the rotation of your body to return to foot hand. Play around with the speed and different angles. Keep flowing for 20 more seconds. Okay, now reset and we'll finish out our drills with crawl circling. Start in foot hand. Take contralateral steps to rotate around your central axis. Step wide, then step together. Your navel should stay generally above the center of your mat. Okay, flip over to inverted and try circling. Now this may be a little less smooth. Stay with small steps or try crossover steps to cover more ground. All right, that's time. Take a moment to reset and we'll finish out our practice with a 3-minute free flow incorporating our crawling variations from today. You don't have to move exactly how I'm moving, but I'll call out the movements as I go through them. Follow along or do your own thing. Okay, let's go. We're starting off with some foot hand circle crawling and shifting. Pass under to inverted. Shift, lift, crawl forwards and backwards. Integrate pass unders to change direction. One minute down, 2 minutes to go. Switch to foot hand crawling, moving freely around your space. Roll over to inverted crawling. Link together a few more rollovers and maybe adding in some bridge reaching as well. Okay, now back to foot hand crawling, standard and with elevated hips. Just 1 minute left to go today. Keep on flowing. Pass under to inverted crawling, forwards and backwards, or scooting and sliding over the ground. Last 30 seconds. Integrate rollover and pass under transitions. That's time. Our flow is complete. Take a few moments to settle, breathe deeply, and return to some relaxed movements to release the tension that may have built up in your wrists or shoulders. Great work today on a challenging session. The more you practice crawling, the more your body will adapt and the more your creativity will flow. May this session motivate you to stay movement-minded throughout the rest of your day. Thank you so much for flowing with me today. Take care, and I'll see you back on the mat for tomorrow's practice.